Yeah. Welcome back to another episode of the WazzyCircus Radio, the show where I get to sit down with the baddest men on this planet, baddest women on baddest people on the earth, son. This is a rare opportunity. I'm about to pick this man's brain. He's a seasoned vet. Shout out to our Patreon patriots. Shout out to all the skydivers, paramotorists, parachute enthusiasts in the world. Love y'all. Yo, we were just talking about something that was called the lunar landing at NASA that you guys used. Oh, George Nisson, baby. George Nisson, everybody. George Nisson.
And good evening. Good evening.
Put that picture up. Put that picture up. I want y'all to know this George Nisson right there on the right, sitting flying his face off above the clouds. This man is not a joke. This man is not fucking around. How old are you, Georgie? It's not even important because you're so badass that you've transcended age.
It's cool. Getting close to 75. Wow. Getting close.
Fucking still shredding. NASA.
So, actually, this was an event called Ballooner that went on for quite a number of years.
Ballooner, that's what you were saying.
Ballunar. And we were lucky enough to actually, as part of this Balloon Fest and Ultralight and all this other going on, skydivers were landing at NASA, getting to pack inside their facilities, and then ride a bus over to Ellington and jump in again. And like I said, you're landing right there. And one year I was lucky enough to be part of a state record over there. That was the largest ballooner ever. It was that year.
What year? Do you remember?
I do not.
Okay.
This would be early 90s.
Okay.
Somewhere in there. Anyway, just to be in free fall and look down and realize that you're right over the top of NASA. And then I had the experience during track off from the 80-way the record. And as I happened to look back between my legs checking, and the visual back between my legs was the great huge rocket laying on the ground. It used to be uncovered. Now it's inside a building.
No, it's inside the building, yeah.
But it wasn't then. And
the Apollo.
No, that's the the Saturn V.
Saturn.
Yeah, the Saturn V rocket. And
so it was outside. So you used to do the tour outside on the rocket.
Well, yeah, and that thing was big enough to be seen in free fall. Like I said, I looked back between my legs,
and there it was,
and there on the ground back behind me, it is that rocket, and I.
You're supposed to be clearing your airspace, George.
Well, I was a little guilty.
Yeah, all good.
I mean, it did grab my attention, but that just
those are rare moments when something in free fall takes you out of free fall for a second, you know.
And I was going to mention, as a part of that, as I was tracking away, that's one of the times that I have experienced knowing a formation was complete when I couldn't see it all.
You had you felt it,
and there's a fair number of skydivers that have had the experience. It's a relatively high percentage, actually, I think.
And you're talking about the 80-way record at NASA, so that's a big deal, and you could feel it. The synergy was there.
Yeah, the world record 246-way in Chicago in '98, I got that light up. I mean, and I got to prove it on the ground. As we were walking in, two people from San Marcos and Harry Hopkins. And I said to them, we got it. Harry was pretty certain. I think he felt it, but she didn't. And I said, when you get done watching you in the film, watch me dock. Count to 3, and count to 3, it'll be complete. You'll watch the last person dock at the count of 3.
And that's what happened.
Exactly.
And did you not see it? You just felt it?
Just lit up.
Yeah, right. I know. It goes through the whole crowd. I've been on 30 ways where it didn't work because it was waving. You know what I mean? It got all crazy, and there's no bliss. Well, there's bliss. We tried, right? But there's a moment when you just grab and you're holding and you're waiting, and it's just like somebody turned a light bulb on or something. And it goes through the whole crowd, like, I think, everybody's like, I think so, right? And there's like no doubt for a second, and then you got to go.
And that is pretty metaphysical, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
And I'm not that kind of guy, but I've had it happen enough that I know the reality of it. And I've never lit up when it was not true.
It's like closing a circuit, probably. Everybody's gripped, right? It's all gripped all the way around. Boom. It's connected.
It's all connected, and it completes a circuit.
Think about how hard we struggle to hold hands with each other. Right? That's the whole fucking goal, is to get to each other and hold hands. In the real world, we don't ever touch each other like that, unless we're dirt diving. But in the sky, our whole goal is to get together and hang out with each other and just be around each other for a second and kind of like cherish the moment of being with these people. But why isn't it as special? Why isn't it? Because when you're skydiving with somebody and you come in and you get that dock and you're good and they get and you feel somebody get your knee and the other knee and you're like, oh, we're in this. All of us are in this together. There's nowhere to go. You couldn't escape if you wanted to. We all tried to get here so hard.
And it's magical. And I suppose that when you think about the amount of energy that each person is bringing to that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Think about it. Think about all the...
I got to say, Waz, I hadn't ever looked at it from that exact angle. And I really like that way of looking at why that can happen.
Right.
You all bring that charge, and when it's, yeah.
And it is a charge. You're putting your gear on, you're dirt diving. That's charging. That's a copper wire winding up with a magnet, man. And you get on that plane, all good.
Yeah.
You get on that plane, everybody's still dirt diving. The anticipation of your spot on exit, don't blow the exit, where you need to be. Keep your head, the track away, the landing, You're charged, man. You're charged. You don't want to be the one that fucks it up, right? You know the video's on. You know you got your bright and yellow, green, so everybody's going to see you. Yeah, man. And then you, oh, my God. Think about the moment. If you could track the electricity on a jump, that 2 seconds before exit, the doors open, everybody's standing, and you're waiting. That's when the power is like ready to explode, right? If you have to do a go-around, that's why it's such a big letdown. You know what I mean? Because, like, you're ready, and it's just go, and you just break through that door, and after that, it's easy. It should be. Well, you know, some people struggle, but it's easy.
Okay, that's why.
If you've trained hard enough, it's easy.
So the next story is this guy.
All right.
You know, when I came up to do the Flight Nights tunnel on Thursday, and we were at a party afterwards, and we started to talk about a skydiving memory that you and I have together.
Yes.
And this radio show probably hasn't heard that story.
No.
And so we're
God, that
at
picture's
a
somewhere.
place
I don't know
called
where that picture's at.
Luling, and
See if I can find that picture.
10 people plus a videographer getting out of an airplane, build a shape, do something else and something else.
It was a 2-point skydive with like 12, 15 people. It was a lot. It was a cool fucking jump.
Yeah. And the last person out of the airplane, the best slot to become a hero or a goat.
The glory.
The glory slot.
Come on. The glory spot's the last guy out. The last guy, because you got the furthest to go. You know, they don't expect you to make it. You know what I mean? And you pull it in and you close the formation. It's glorious, pure glory.
So I can't remember the first shape we built. The second shape was round.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as it was complete, Waz, let's go. We close up the round. And he goes up above us and then down into the center in a head-down attitude that should have just plunged right through the damn thing. When you didn't plunge through the center and actually orbited looking at all of us.
Outface carving on them boys, on them bellies, boy.
As we talked about the other night, every belly flyer, all of us in the circle looking at him, had our jaws dropped all the way down, going, "Holy shit!"
George, my jaw was dropped. I didn't think it was gonna work either. Mark Farr, yeah. There it is. Yo, there you found it. Yeah. So let's talk about this. For one, I don't have a belly suit. That's Alan Metney's belly suit. It doesn't fit me. It's too baggy. Alan Metney's the old owner of iFly, and he left it in a drawer somewhere. And I was like, Alan, I'm going to use your suit for this big way. He's like, go ahead. So we built this, and then Mark Farr, that was like their second or third jump, right?
Yeah.
Because we had done 2 or 3 other points. It was a good belly day. Oh,
yeah.
My God. If you guys don't fly belly, you're missing out. I mean, real belly, not you and your friends trying to dock. Like 8-way, 4-way, 12-way, really getting in, flying your slot, being specific. So we had done a couple jumps, and Mark was like, you want to do some free fly shit? I was like, baby boy, you know I want to do some free fly shit. So he's like, we're going to build a 2 formation. They built the round, and in this picture, I had just let go and transitioned to my head, and then they closed that piece, and I carved around it like 2 or 3 times, man, just looking. What it was, if you can see, my head is eye level with their faces, and it's like, it's the funniest thing, man. I'm flying around a tunnel of smiles, is what it felt like. Because it's all my friends in a circle, and I'm carving around just smiling ass faces of everybody I know, and I'm laughing my ass off. And they're laughing their asses off, and I can't believe it's happening.
Hey, and
like
I've got a lot of memories from 53 years in this sport, and that's one of the keepers.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you.
That right there was one of the keepers.
Oh, man, that was a big moment in my life too. There's those jump moments where, especially as a tunnel instructor, you're learning all the time in the tunnel, but you really don't get to apply it, other than with your friends in that little ass glass box. You know, you don't know if it really works in the sky. You think it does, but you don't know. That was one of those milestones for me. Like, I can do anything now because of the tunnel. You know, there was one before that where I had, dude, head down. Your head down?
No.
Not yet.
A few people have taken me out. They got me all the way to terminal once.
Mm-hmm. Have you not got on the net at all and felt your body?
No.
Oh, you got to come do it with me. It's just, you can sit fly, and that's all it really takes to be stable in your sit, because if you bail out in your head, you go to your back, but if you can get to your sit, it saves you a lot of time and me a lot of time of waiting for you to get stable, right? If you can just pop to your sit, which I know you can.
My sit's gotten better than you've seen.
Okay.
By quite a bit.
But I've been watching you sit fly for how many years now?
Yeah.
Right?
But I kind of dabble in it. I haven't
dedicated,
but I sure have fun. I've had some amazing dives. All of a sudden, the Red Bull lady,
Amy Schmlecki.
Down in Costa Rica.
I love Amy.
I'll keep that story short. By an amazing set of coincidences, Amy's walking up to me and says, "So do you want to jump?"
In Costa Rica, at that little drop zone, off the National Reserve, the whale-tailed, beautiful.
Yeah, the Barcelo Resort.
Yeah.
Yep. But anyway, there I am, and somebody was setting me up with a sit jump with somebody, and I find out it's Amy, and she says, "Nobody is signing up. Do you want to jump?" Yes. And go do one-on-one with Amy.
Come on. Hey, you want to learn how to putt with Tiger Woods? Yes.
What?
I said, you want to learn how to putt with Tiger Woods?
Yeah,
please. Can I?
Yeah, exactly.
You know? Yeah. How'd that jump go?
I mean,
yeah, they're beasts.
Obviously, you get a dock.
Right.
I mean, zip.
She flew right to you, man.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I wasn't backing up at warp speed.
Right.
No,
she still
flew
caught
right
you.
to me. But then what got really cool was that she just turned into a rock, not moving at all.
Yeah.
And I couldn't move her.
Right.
And I looked at her, and she's got this just shit-eating grin on her face.
Yeah.
That says, "If you want to keep that dock, you better start
flying, or you're out of here, buddy." That's a good coach.
Oh, and and a bit I'm struggling, and then finally I kind of get it together, and I got this, and I finally made eye contact again, and she's got this radiant smile on her face.
Beautiful.
And on the ground later, she let go of a little bit and did some other things, made me work. But I got on the ground. He says, I'd have held that dock to impact. I mean, that was so cool.
You're like, I finally got someone in the air. Dude, your first zip fly dock is legendary. That's a monumental moment. You know what I mean? Because it's hard. Especially with the old school chest forward, arms back, backslide, and sit fly. There's no way to get a dock.
Yeah.
And in Costa Rica to fly with one of the best, that's pretty rad.
And yeah, and she said that, well, I wasn't backsliding.
Oh, that's what she told you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I asked, I started, and she says, you weren't backsliding. She knew what I was going to ask.
Right, of course. So here's the deal. Like, there's levels of coaches. And there's coaches with huge egos that do all the flying to show you how cool they are, right? And you're backsliding, and they fly to you, and they get the dock, and they tell you later. Then the next level is like Amy, to where, no, you got to work. You're never going to learn if I'm flying for you. I'm going to sit right here like a rock. You can run into me. You can pull me. You can push me. I'm solid, but I'm not going to come to you. And that's who makes you better, especially with that smile as you're struggling, and you finally get there, and boom, there's that connection, the energy passes through the hands, and you light up again, and you get to go land your parachute and do it again. Isn't it amazing? All right, hold on before we go further, because I just skipped. Toast to life. This is a beautiful scotch, you guys. This is a beautiful scotch. It's not it doesn't go too far off the deep end, but it's not like you're in the shallow end either, right? Because it doesn't go on some flavor roller coaster, but you're deep in this. It's an Aberlour Speyside single malt Scotch whiskey. Okay, let me see what they say. Aberlour whiskey was born in the Speyside village of Aberlour, made with local spring water from the Ben Rhines and barley, now locally sourced from the fields near our distillery. We mature the single malt in 3 different types of casks, the European oak sherry cask and 2 different types of American oak casks. Their rich flavors infuse our whiskey over time. This is a very good scotch. If you guys want to try something to drink along with the WazzyCircus, it's smooth.
But be careful.
Yeah, explain.
Yeah, it is a cask strength, so it's actually about 92 proof. It also, that gives the cherry oakiness a bit more of a bite. It's real solid.
Real solid.
Yeah.
So, Georgie, your jump philosophy, 52 years, you said? How long have you been in the sport?
53.
53. But you were military jumping first. We did the story. I just don't remember.
No military jumps at all.
At all?
None.
Right on. You've never had to bail out of a helicopter or anything?
You just can't bail out of a helicopter.
You just crash them? I bailed out a couple of helicopters.
Well, if it's still in flight, but one that is...
it's metal.
Yeah,
it's a metal storm.
There was a helicopter in the Army, and it's still there. I think they've removed this from the manual finally, but it was the Chinook with 2 rotors up on top. And I was never rated, but I flew it some. At any rate, in part of the emergency procedures, in the event of total hydraulic failure, the emergency procedure is to exit the aircraft.
Are you guys wearing rigs?
But there weren't any parachutes in the aircraft.
So what the fuck?
Yeah.
Exit the
Perfect. Perfect. Exactly.
That's the Shanisi right there. Exit the aircraft. That's some Army manual bullshit right there. That's the Army manual. If fire, exit aircraft. That's it. There's no other instructions.
What it is, if you, what they're saying is if you stay in the aircraft, you're dead for sure.
Yeah.
There are people, I know one that hit the ground at terminal velocity and lived.
From how high?
As 7,200-foot exit.
Fucking rad. So I've read about
Well,
the...
but he didn't fall all the way. He
was a
had
slope?
function cut away.
Oh, okay. Okay, so he did have a
and
rig.
had way too many winter clothes on. That's why I wasn't up there, because it was too damn cold to skydive.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, he successfully cut away, and he couldn't find the reserve ripcord.
And he went in, nothing out.
With nothing out.
In the snow and the trees. In a bush.
He hit a small black spruce. That's not a very substantial tree.
Okay.
And that was enough that if he wasn't already, he was completely, absolutely flat on his back when he hit into about 3 feet of snow. Relatively compacted snow, not fluffy shit, but that's still not much.
That's not my...
He had no life-threatening injuries.
That's nothing, really, just some broken bones.
Yeah.
Military dude? No. Yo, so there's stories in like World War II where planes would catch on fire and guys would jump out to 16,000, 17,000 feet. Can we look up the highest free fall survived without a fucking parachute? Because it's high.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got out of the bombers in World War II.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're on fire and they get the fuck out.
There are a couple of the guys that made that.
Man, World War One, and a couple guys live.
Yeah.
Here's the deal as a jumper, because people are like, oh, I think it's a nightmare now because we're going to be totally conscious the entire jump down. We're going to know exactly what's going on. There's no passing out from free fall. Like a normal person would probably pass the fuck out.
Yeah, they could overamp.
Oh, yeah, we're not going to overamp. We're going to be perfectly calm. It's going to be bullshit. Like, fuck. And you're going all the way in, totally calm, totally conscious, not fucking around.
And I have had a very short peek at what you'll see. I dumped a reserve after I went through 1,000 feet.
What were you doing?
I couldn't get a main out. Borrowed gear.
Oh, and
Stupid twice.
And you went through 1,000 in free fall?
Mm-hmm.
When did you try to dump, 2?
Oh, I started. Yeah, at
25.
We broke off lower, but at.
This is some old man shit.
Yeah.
Listen, this is some old man shit. Because you're not going to hear this shit from anybody that hasn't started jumping in the last 30 years.
Yeah.
This shit ended 40 years ago.
Yeah.
Well, the hard deck was 1,500 feet back in the day.
No.
So you'd wave and pull at 25?
We normally pulled at $2 grand.
Fuck off.
Normal.
So if you went low, you're at 12.
Yeah, and so in this case, and going through
See how calm
a
he
little
said,
before
yeah.
2000, I'm playing a dance with a gal, trying to get off of, and every time I would turn, she turned. And
At 2.
Well, maybe it started at 24 or something like that.
Yeah, but you guys trying to get away.
We're going through 2000.
Because you just broke at 25, so yeah, it just started.
So somewhere
fucking crazy shit.
at
Oh my
at,
God.
at say 1,800 feet or something like that, I realized what my friends had been trying to point out to me with their eyes during the jump. And that was that this was back in the ripcord days.
Uh-huh. Your ripcord was hanging, flopping?
Well, the borrowed gear, I didn't check it close. Borrowed gear. That's how I got there.
Borrowed gear's fine if you do 1,000 touches.
To make a nice, easy pull of the ripcord, the guy with this custom gear had removed all of the tie downs for the ripcord housing,
Mm-hmm.
so that it didn't have to turn a corner.
Right.
Well, but in free fall, if it's out of the pocket, where's the ripcord?
Flopping around.
No, it's behind you.
Oh, because it doesn't have
It's
the housing.
Yep.
It's just blasted back.
It's all the way behind you.
But couldn't you just grab the line if you took
that's
the housing
what-
off?
That's the whole thing. He had the housing and everything was free, so everything's behind you.
Everything's just flopping.
Everything's behind you. There's nothing to grab onto,
So what would he do in that situation? He would just know to reach behind him?
Yeah, and maybe he could reach it. I couldn't find it.
So doing 1,000 touches wouldn't have helped you in that situation if you didn't get briefed on that
And
gear.
as soon as I as soon as I missed here, I mean, the instant that I didn't come up with it in my hand, the right thing to do right then, and I knew it.
Pop. Right, left.
Do a back loop.
What?
If I'd have done a
What
back...
the fuck?
That was what I should...
Do a back loop? No, George. No. Listen, no.
Hey.
No.
And
no. No. You're at 1,200 feet. You can't find your fucking pool.
No.
You don't do a backflip.
I was at 1,700 feet.
It doesn't fucking matter.
Hey,
God. Don't preach this shit.
That's the difference between now and then. At the time, honest to God, at the time, all the experience...
What I should have done was a backflip. That happens every time. That's every time you're in trouble. Just do a backflip, guys.
No, I knew what. That's where the ripcord was at.
Oh my God! George.
And no, but here's the difference. This is the important thing.
Okay.
At that time, all of my really experienced friends thought that's what I should have done. And that is the difference between now and then.
Yeah. A backflip's going to cost you 500 feet. Now you're at 1,000 feet and you're
dumping a main.
That fucking thing, dumping a main.
But you are dumping a round parachute, so it's it's a lot closer to being dumping a reserve. But I could make myself.
Cheers to the USPA.
Oh hell yes,
Thank you, USPA, for BSRs and all your guidance and insurance.
There is that old saying.
Holy shit.
Do you remember the days when sex was safe and skydiving was dangerous?
Yes.
And now it is the other way around.
No, sex is pretty safe these days, unless you want to get monkeypox.
Actually, since we mentioned sex, I wore the appropriate shirt
for Pride Month.
Bingo.
Very good. I'm proud to be human too, my friend.
Yeah,
and everything that comes with it.
And with it, I wanted to quote a fine philosopher, a guy named Rodney King.
Mm-hmm.
Some people will have heard the name, and yes,
Don't
that's
you
the one I'm.
Do it.
Why can't we all get along? Remember that?
Can't we just all get along? But he was in a moment of desperation. He was tired of fighting. He was tired of talking. He's like, listen, it comes down to this simple. Can't we just all get along?
And that's, I got lucky enough to watch that live, and it
was impactful in real life, huh?
Oh,
yeah. They beat his motherfucking ass, son.
But and that's what makes that statement of his
so powerful.
Is he was a wronged man,
and it was
and
so
he's standing up there
he
and he's
so
asking
mocked.
everybody to just get along.
Along.
That is, man.
That is powerful.
Yes.
So I did want to ask you about your well, go ahead. What's up? Who's that, Rodney King? Oh, who's that? Who's that, the girl? Okay. On the 26th of January, 1972, Vesna Volovid, she's from Ukraine, dog, was a flight attendant on board Jet Yugoslav Airlines Flight 367. The flight path between Stockholm, Sweden, and Belgrade. Seth, you got to go up. I can't see because of PGM. Took the aircraft over Czechoslovakia, now the Czech Republic. And this is when the plane exploded into 3 pieces. I've heard about this.
Holy shit.
Okay, but she stayed on the aircraft. She was in the tail section of the aircraft. I've read this story. I want to know who's survived a free fall outside, because she's on the tail. I don't know. I'm not making excuses. God bless you, Vesna Vulovic. But I mean, like, no parachute in free fall guys in World War II. It's like 14,000 feet.
While we were doing that, I came up with and I'm so bad about names. The one that went in Alaska was Gene Minell.
Okay.
And he had no life-threatening.
Did anybody write a newspaper about this? A story about this guy?
Oh, it made the news up there in Anchorage.
Yeah.
That was it.
You're from Anchorage.
I was raised up there.
Raised up there.
Yeah. So that gets us to Alaska and this.
Yes.
Do we have 10 minutes?
George.
I don't know how long the story takes. I've never told
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, bro.
So
This is
is
why
about
we're here.
the other part of my life that dominated for a long time. Was a real struggle to get skydives in when I was a helicopter pilot in Alaska and you flew in the summer. So, at any rate, I believe this was 1976, and I got this chance because two friends and two other guys were going to take kites to the top of Mount McKinley and launch.
Okay. Paragliders.
And I said, two of these guys were ski friends of mine, and they knew I flew. So anyway, I lined them up with the helicopter company because their kites wouldn't fit in an airplane. And so we strapped them on the outside of the helicopter, and I flew them up onto the Kill and the glacier.
Just the bags? Just the bags with the parachutes in them?
Yeah, well, these were the Regalo. No, the Regalo kites. The stiff wing Delta.
Oh, they're not. You mean they're doing
Paragliding.
No. That's hang gliding.
Yeah, hang
gliding. Yeah, paragliding is different. Hang gliding. You strapped hang gliders on the side of a helicopter?
Well, and they're in their bags.
Oh, in their bags. They're folded up.
They're all folded up.
But they're long and big because, yeah, the hang gliders are huge. Paragliders can fit in a backpack.
Yeah, no, this is all metal structure. Yeah,
hang gliders, good.
And so I got the four guys in their kites, and I put them up on the normal start for a climb up McKinley, and that with
how tall is Mount McKinley?
8 other 20,300, and the new official is 310, not 320.
2,310.
Yeah, because this story's going there.
Okay.
At any rate, I put these guys on, and they drug 4 kites and 4 sets of skis and boots to the top of Mount McKinley, and launched. Well, there's some dispute about that. One, at least, one of my ski buddies, Cade, crashed, and that's a matter of record. And he had to be, they say, rescued. It just took, with the help of friends, a full day to get him back onto the climb route because he had a broken leg.
What happened?
He crashed on takeoff with the
on skis. So they're trying to ski launch these hang gliders. He might have caught a crosswind. Anything could happen. Yeah,
and at any rate, and he walked off the mountain on his own.
What are the winds like up there?
It's hugely variable. I mean, I've never taken a helicopter that high. My highest landing with a helicopter is just a little over 13,000.
Okay, so now you're at 20.
Yeah, and there have been a few pilots that have landed helicopters on the top of McKinley. A few. There are a few helicopters that can do it, and a few guys with enough experience.
How high up did you get?
I've never needed to be above a little over 13.
Oh, so you didn't fly those guys up?
No.
Oh.
Wait, no. I flew them onto a starting point on the Kahiltna Glacier at about 7,200 feet.
Okay. And then they flew up from there.
They drug their kites, not flew, they climbed.
Oh, they climbed the rest?
Yeah, with all that gear.
How high did they go? Do you know?
Well, all the way to 20,320, as far as I know. Well,
they hiked 13,000 feet with that.
I actually asked them later, and they said they couldn't launch from the peak; that they had to actually come down a fair.
Because it's probably windy.
Well, no, it was a problem of a good enough snowfield.
Oh, okay.
They had to have a snowfield, not a rock field,
right.
for the skis.
Wow.
At any rate,
what an adventure!
Yeah, and so I got to put these guys on, and that's probably because I'd just been up working around McKinley a little bit. This next job pops up with a guy named Brad Washburn and his wife managing the show. Brad Washburn was the director of the Boston Museum of Science and also the foremost authority of the topography of both Everest and McKinley.
So he's like an Indiana Jones.
Kind of, yeah. And I get this plum job because he wants to tighten up the survey of this mountain. So he's got some surveyors out, and Eagle Scouts are going to be going to the top of the mountain on a regular basis so they can do some survey shit.
Okay.
Well, you can't fly surveyors in bad weather, so this job, for me, is easy because we got to have good weather. Mm-hmm. Just a piece of cake. We're living in a high-end lodge. I mean, this is like one of those jobs where you'd pay them
Just to get to go.
just to
right.
get to do it. And the guy is really cool. And let's see, I'll blow his horn. Just I mentioned the way they go up the mountain now at Everest, the way these kiters went up the West Buttress. This guy, Brad Washburn, and his wife pioneered the original West Buttress themselves in 1951.
Wow.
Yeah, and here he is out working, tightening up his survey. Anyway, one day I'm flying him around, and he says, oh, yeah, why don't you see down there on the ground, see the stuff that's kind of been disturbed? And things stay like that for a long time in Alaska. That's important to this story. We recognize, and he said, land us somewhere down there.
What do you mean disturbed? It looked like a crash or something?
No, just the vegetation didn't come back. You could see outlines of what had probably been tents. All the fire pits were still there. And,
okay.
And
so if you do something out there, it stays that way.
It tends to stay.
Okay.
Damn.
Yeah. Wow. Time was
Anyway, we circle down. I find a spot to land, and we shut down and out walking around. I see different things, and I see this fire pit. And, excuse me, as we're coming down, Brad Washburn says, what you're looking at is the campsite, the base campsite for the first climb in 1913.
Holy shit.
This is where they camped. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay, and I find us a place, and I'm out walking around in history.
Who was it in 19? Do you remember, was it McKinley? No, that's the president. So who was the guy that discovered
No. It had been known for a long time, the mountain, but I can't remember the name of the guy.
The pioneers.
The first four guys went up in 1913 with a bigger support party. But anyway, here I am walking around, and I get next to a fire pit, and I happen to bump this or kick it, and I reach down and grab this piece of metal, and I knew exactly what it was the instant I put my hands on it.
What is it?
This, in the old days, tin cans used to be really sturdy, and you could bend a tin can around and turn and have real structural metal, or reasonably so. And so you would take a can, straighten it out, fold it up, and it'd have a big hook on the end, and that was your pot hook for the fire.
Oh, wow.
And when I picked it up and I knew what I had. It had broken, so they threw it down.
Okay.
This was from the climb. This is from the first climb ever of Mount McKinley.
And they were cooking with that. May I?
And when I picked it up and I looked at it and realized what I had in my hand, I had an artifact, and I started to put it down. And Brad Washburn looked at me, "What are you doing?" And I said, "I can't take that. We're in a park." And he said, "If you don't take it, nobody will ever understand. You know exactly what that is,
right?
And how many people will, and how many people will care."
How far deep in Alaska is Mount McKinley?
It's the center.
The center of Alaska.
I mean, yeah, really. I mean, this is it's 90 something miles, air miles north of Anchorage, like 95, 96 air miles, straight line north of Anchorage.
So walking, it took a month to get there?
Oh, that time, yeah. I would assume back then, I can't imagine.
Can you imagine the men?
Remember, I've always gotten around in Alaska in a helicopter.
Right.
I've had to drive somewhere, but my job for
right.
18 years. I had 18 years in Alaska, flying.
God, if this thing could tell a story about the nights, and the food it's cooked, and the stories the guys are telling around the campfire.
Yeah, I treasure that.
That's amazing, dude. Because they say objects hold memories. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. I mean, that was when there was a great frontier. that was when there was magic and newness, and they didn't know what was around the bend. And there's
yeah, that lasted much later in Alaska. Even
right,
it was a different kind of place, Alaska, or Anchorage even, which was the major city even when we moved up there in '60. But up until the earthquake, Alaska was just different. And
what earthquake?
Oh, the earthquake in 1964. I was still in high school. All of a sudden, I can't remember the date. Oh, it was Good Friday, whatever day that happened. Of all, that's important in Alaskan history because there's two disasters: the Great Alaska Quake and then the Exxon Valdez running aground. Both happened on Good Friday.
Wow, I remember the Exxon Valdez.
Exactly 25 years apart.
Okay.
Any rate, the earthquake. I've just picked up my date. We're headed out, and normally, if you're in a car, and I've been in some more than one earthquake even before this by quite a bit, you don't feel earthquakes. We're driving along, and all of a sudden, I pull over, and what's going on? The car's rocking. And I look up, power lines are moving. I move the car, and it's still rocking. And then I open up the car door, and there's all this noise of a very deep nature. And finally, I get out of the car. And I look in at some railroad tracks and the melting snow. So I've got a really nice surface, a little bit of grass and railroad tracks. I could see, and by this time, finally, I realized this is an earthquake. Holy shit! You know, I can feel things moving. I could see the groundswell go through.
The wave.
The wave in the ground. Wow! I could see it.
The liquid dynamics of a solid ground.
I said that skydive with yours, I've got forever. Seeing those waves go through and going. You know. Anyway. Depending on whose readings you believe, it was a 9.1 or 9.2.
Was it a volcano or some shit?
Nope. Yeah.
Wow! Look at ripped up the ground. Look at the
That's
trees.
Turnagain Arm. That's about. I used to walk into that area to go hunting when I was in high school.
You guys, if you're listening, it looks like somebody took a cookie and crumbled it.
Well, the much more dramatic picture, I think, is the one of 4th Avenue that shows one side of the street where all the buildings settled almost one story, 3/4 of a story, one whole side of the street for 2.5 blocks.
Holy shit.
Dropped.
Is that, yeah, we'll see.
At any rate.
Wow, that's way bigger than the San Francisco one. It's just that the San Francisco one was more populated.
Yeah.
Alaska. Did they ever say what it was? Was it?
Oh, yeah, it was a
oh,
big...
that's it. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
That's just devastation, dude.
There was a big...
Is that the road sticking up?
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
This shit is... You guys, we live on the crust of the earth. We have...
It was... a part of Anchorage was built on what is now called Bootleggers Cove Clay, there was a little spot right there along the... inlet that was called Bootleggers Cove, and anyway, what underlies a portion where you saw those trees and those houses is stuff called Bootleggers Cove clay, and it's a type of clay that if you hit it really hard, it liquefies.
Really? It's like the opposite of the other liquid. If you hit it, it gets hard. That shit, you hit it and it liquefies.
And it doesn't turn into liquid like
but
this. Yes, it gives, flows, moves. It flows. Some of the houses there in that area where they're showing the trees, where there were really houses, some of the houses moved more than 100 yards.
Did they sink?
Well, eventually, because they moved into Cook Inlet, and eventually, as it washed away, the landslide, took the houses.
That's ridiculous. Was it like a national emergency? How'd you guys get through it? The electricity's out. You're in fucking Alaska where you have to hunt a moose. That was dumb. I'm sorry.
I'm surprised. I don't remember the electricity being a huge problem, so I'm going to guess that we must have got it back pretty quick. Yeah.
But you're hard people up there, so you.
Oh, yeah,
it's
yeah.
19 what?
Oh, this is 1964.
Yeah, you say it like it's modern. Oh, 1964.
Well, no, I was still I was a junior in high school then. Yeah. I had one more year to go.
So were you chill chopping wood and shit at home?
No, heck no. Oh no. At that point, Anchorage was a modern city. I mean, in every way, relatively small by big city standards. Anyway, it's but it's a fully modern city, and
it's just surrounded by so much Alaska that it seems.
And that has changed.
Really?
From the population, good grief, more than tenfold than when I grew up.
How do you feel about that?
Everybody would love to have no change, but yeah, Anchorage now is truly a big city, and so all the benefits of big city, and it's not impossible to get gone, especially if you've got a little money you chartering out somewhere, or you're a pilot, then man, you're going places.
Yeah, that's awesome. And you're headed back in a week.
In 2 days.
Yeah.
Thursday, headed back up. Got my rig. I hope to get a couple jumps.
Is it a DZ?
Yes, there's a DZ just to the it'd be northeast up at Palmer, which is a pretty good size community. And
okay.
So I guess not quite an hour out of Anchorage.
So when it's 24 hours a day sunlight, do they just jump their faces off?
Well, and it's never in Anchorage. You got to go further north. You got to get to the Arctic Circle before you get a real honest. But the days get to be 21 and like 21 and a half hours.
Dude, that's 24 hours.
Yeah, and the darkness, it is the real darkness in Anchorage is really only about an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, because of the way the sun sets at those high.
Is that like an event? Do people do shit when it gets dark? Like, woo, it's dark, and then it goes away.
No, I've never noticed that. Just because it's so subtle. I mean, it takes forever for it to get really long sunsets. That's during.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. When they did the last solstice boogie that I went to, I drew one of the lots to make the midnight jump. And at midnight, at altitude, you're in sunlight.
Wow.
And you get out and I'm going to say like 20 seconds later or so, you fall through the sunset.
Wow. And
out with 4 friends, do it just a bit shit. And then we all turn and face west, go, wow.
Yeah.
And then skydive a little.
And then skydive a little.
And they had enough time. They got the next load up, and they just they were out, and they were hardly into free fall, and they went through the sunset.
Yeah.
Which that's cool.
Oh, that's fucking cool. Georgie Porgy, what is your jump philosophy? Like, you've been jumping for a long time. You keep showing up. What's the philosophy there?
I just love the sport. I mean, you can keep learning. I've got small canopy. I'm doing a bit of sit, and there's just so much to learn, and there's all this camaraderie.
Right, it's the best part to me.
And I just don't know that it exists anywhere else, and so I just love the sport and love the people, and I hope my health hangs in there. I'd love to be like Moorhead, Pat Moorhead. This I can't remember the date now, but a couple 3 months back, turned 90 and made 9 jumps.
Nice.
Yeah, the same guy that 10 years ago on his 80th made 80 jumps
On the same day.
on 80 jumps on his 80th.
Pat Moorhead. Shout out to Pat Moorhead.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, cool, and a really, really nice guy.
Anybody you can fucking look up to, I can look up to, buddy. So, George, family philosophy for us young bucks out there.
It's the same boring thing that all the advice people give. Communication.
Mm-hmm.
The hardest thing to do. Oh, just communicate. And yeah, that is the answer. And that doesn't solve anything for so many people.
Because they don't try it.
It's well, people keep thinking things are easy. And
oh, yeah, nothing's easy. Even though we make it look easy. How long have you been married?
48 and a half years.
48 and a half years.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, Maria's perfect in everything except she's obviously a terrible judge of character. That's another part where I can't believe how lucky I am. My flying career, my skydiving career, my family life.
So lucky.
Yeah,
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
I feel the same way, buddy.
We just have this great life. And she's never skydived, never will skydive.
Doesn't have to.
Yeah, no.
Nope.
She sends me on my way.
I used to tell my tandems, they're like, "You're so lucky." I was like, I pray a lot, right? Because I just say, and I said, my prayers are all thank you. Right? You know, especially in the middle of a tandem, blowing somebody's mind, and you're just floating around looking at the sunset, about to take them in for a landing for their family, you know. It's so magic, man. So I've got another question for you. What is your philosophy for a troubled young man? Somebody, young dude off the wrong path. Just from a seasoned vet that has tasted joy. What advice you have for a troubled young man?
I would say, quit giving yourself such a hard time. You know, there is the power of positive thought and just as powerful as negative thought. And I think that oversimplification of any problem, but so many people that are troubled are simply their own their own worst, their own worst enemy,
right.
You know, and they aren't giving themselves a chance.
Right.
Quit criticizing yourself. Others will be glad to take care of that for you.
Well, it's that positive energy thing. If you're building up negative, the first thing you touch is going to be, everything you touch is going to be reflected back at you in a negative form. If you're putting out positive, everything you see is going to be positive. It's just life, you know? And you can build up that energy to a real power to where they call it sorcery or witchcraft. You know, that's what they call cursing people. It's not cussing. Cussing isn't bad. Fuck shit, damn. It's, I hope he gets hurt, or I hope you crash, or I hope you this. That's cussing. That's cursing. That's that negative spell action. That's what's negative. That's that death speak, you know? And people do it to themselves.
And that's the thing that I find so troubling is, you know, because I sometimes to minor detriment, but I've got a positive view, and you've got to show me that somebody is bad or wrong, or show me that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be positive until you prove me wrong.
right.
And
it's serving you well, buddy.
I could not agree more. I've got a life that's blessed beyond belief.
Yeah. Everybody around you knows it. Anybody that knows you loves you. Anybody that flies with you envies you. I'm serious. Anybody that, if you know they respect you, man, because it's a genuine care. There's no fake. There's no shuffling off. Everybody's important. It's amazing. So, do you have kids?
Oh yeah.
Do you have sons? What advice do you have for your sons? Just if you were just going to give some advice to somebody, George, for their boys, all your knowledge.
I can't think of a thing that
there's not one key you would give.
There's no one key piece. That it's rare for me to be without words, and
Go live.
Yeah.
Sounds like go live and figure it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
New jumpers. Brand new jumpers.
Stay focused. People are not getting good enough in their skills, and they're just
right.
And they'd be so much better skydivers, and I think they have more fun to be much more focused so that you
are successful.
And it doesn't have to be, you don't have to be on some championship team or any crap like that. No, it's like when you start out belly, say, this is what I want to do. But think about if you're going to go elsewhere, what skill level do you want? Mm-hmm. Whatever skill level you aspire to, unless you're truly competitive driven, then you don't have to get that good over here. But you aspire, I want to be a proficient sit flyer head downer. You need to be that on your belly first.
Right.
Or
Definitely.
you're missing out on some skills. And the same thing, you start sit or head down and you stay with it until unless you're going to move on, until you're at a level that, that's a level I'd love to be at over here.
But sometimes that takes a lifetime. That's tough.
Only if you set, that's why I gave the caveat of the person that's really got a competitive spirit. Well, that's unfair to tell somebody that they've got to get up to some kind of pretty high competition level before they move on to their preferred. But those are rare skydivers.
Right.
I mean, I'm talking to I consider myself an everyday skydiver. That's
You're
all
not
I am.
An everyday skydiver.
Yes, I am.
What size is your canopy, George?
Yeah, when I say Valkyrie 96,
is swooping you motherfuckers under the table, dog. Dog, this is not a game. This ain't no fucking game. George Nisson ain't no goddamn game. How long I remember when I remember when you bought your first Valkyrie. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You're like, I got another one coming. Like, you're out of here, goddamn mind, George. That is awesome. So, all right, here's the next one. New swoopers.
That's...
Because that's what you want. If you really at the drop zone, that's what you want.
Well, there are people that really, really don't. But,
they're just scared. Them motherfuckers want it. If you get them alone and you get them talking, they want to swoop. Yeah. They want to swoop? Come on. Well, tell me. Prove me wrong. One of you motherfuckers prove me wrong and you don't want us. You say that as a new jumper because you don't want people to judge you and you don't want people to say you're going to die and all that bullshit. But deep in your fucking soul's deepest corners, y'all want to hook that shit so bad. Y'all want to come across the ground at 90.
And the real simple advice is once you start swooping, you better pay attention to every landing.
Oh yeah, there's no gimme swoops.
Well, that's just it.
There's no stroll in the park.
You can, my major injury was just farting around, and then
what'd you do? You hooked it in, Georgie?
No, No, I was farting around with surfing,
Mm-hmm.
and there was a hole a little bit, and
Mm-hmm.
anyway, and so I'm stepping. I think, oh, no problem. I got this. We're gonna sit. And next thing you know, I'm going, and I straight armed the ground, and
Oh, you tripped in the hole.
well, no, I just bumped 1 foot. There wasn't enough trip. I just after that one little stop, I never caught up and down.
Mm. Were your toes up? Were you skilling on your heels?
Yeah.
And you just caught that hole and just tripped.
Just
and
a little
there
bit,
it
and
is.
just put just enough off balance.
Mm-hmm.
I put that foot up, and then next thing you know, I'm trying to run, and
You
then
never run.
Yeah, and then
Oh, that sucks.
then you straight arm the ground, and
Yeah. There it is.
yep, there it is.
Remember those rotator cuff labrum?
Yeah,
Yeah.
rotator cuff. Yeah.
Ugh, God. And you got that fixed. Mine are both bad.
Well, this one's bad now.
Is it?
Yeah,
I've done
this
some
is just-
band work. I've done a lot of band work to build shit around it and that you can cope, but it's still, you fucking turn the wrong way. You look too hard in one direction, that shit hurts. So that
Yep.
takes me to the next. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm laughing and agreeing. It's what can
it's
you
just
say?
what it is. No rapid movements. What past 40?
But you know, you stay it after the bands, and see over on this side, the exploratory surgery showed that both my infraspinatus and my supraspinatus are damaged beyond repair. And I've got the video. I've seen it.
Oh, it's just toast.
It's just this
Spindly. Yeah.
sinewy white crap.
It's done.
And apparently it had been that way for quite a long time, and the other things were compensating, and I kind of damaged some of that. Now it's coming back.
Okay, it is coming back.
Yeah.
Were you taking chondroitin or anything?
Oh yeah, I take that, but what's bringing it back is therapy. That's the bands and just
light weights and repetition
just over and over and over.
So you just got to work around it and build it back.
And the improvement is at a glacial.
Is it?
Blank pace.
Oh, it's just slow.
You've got to look weeks back to go, oh, I'm actually a little.
I'm better now. That sucks, Joe.
Yeah.
So philosophy.
You've driven me to drink.
Yeah, let's go. I'll take one more splash to end the show. Philosophy for older dudes, and like in my head, I still feel young, but my body's starting to break down, and you got 30. Go ahead, you first, sir. Right, and then you have years on me, and then there's a BDS crew, the Broke Dick Society. Those are a couple of my boys that jump. Those are guys that are 50 plus, right? I think you just answered it though. You just got to keep it rocking. You can't stop. You got to keep it moving because if you get stagnant, it atrophies.
Oh, and
Inertia sets in.
There's another part of being lucky, is that I retired at 62.
Oh wow, you've been chilling for a while. Yeah,
yeah. There's no other way to put it. And I can't think where we.
Just old guys. How do you stay active?
Oh, excuse me.
That,
having retired at 62, I have been able to get to the gym pretty often.
Nice.
And you've heard me talk about it. I'm also an active water skier, slalom.
You were slalom skiing today, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. That's fun. I had a really interesting fall today.
Okay.
Yeah. As you're in slalom, you're obviously going back and forth across the boat. Well, if you think about it, if the boat's doing 32, and I'm going across at any kind of reasonable angle, I'm well faster than 30.
40. Yeah, you're hauling ass.
I'm in the low 40s.
Carving.
Yeah, and a little too much bump, lost my balance, grabbing my balance and shoved the ski. And right there, I realized that ski was gone. I mean, I had lost it.
In front of you or behind you?
It's right here.
Okay.
And I let go, and I hit the water at 41 or 42 miles an hour.
Did you skip?
Oh, hell yeah. And then because
Okay,
ski
that's a
was
slalom
hanging-
right there.
Yeah.
So is the hardest part coming across the wake on that? Because that's a big
Excuse
wake
me.
for a slalom boat.
Well, that's actually not as the wake that you think it is. That the sunlight is catching.
Okay, so it's not as big as it looks.
No, sunlight's catching a whole bunch of spray.
Okay.
That
I see the spray. I
Yeah,
got you. I
yeah,
got
yeah,
you.
yeah.
So the wake is not as big as it looks.
no, not at all. In fact, as you can look further up, you're going to see a lot
Yeah.
more like what I would see.
And so it's pretty smooth coming across, but you can still get some lift if you hit it.
It's not pretty smooth.
Oh, it's not. It's you got to stay loose with your knees, huh? Like get across
Well, you need
it.
to suck it up some, and
If not, you're gonna get lift.
you don't want to be off the water.
No.
Because that every split second off the water is time that you can't be building up speed.
Oh,
Yeah.
because you guys are going for speed. So for wakeboarding, we dig in on that and just launch, right? When we see that, and we just dig in, and the water pushes back, and there we go.
We want speed because we want to get out around the buoys.
So are you kind of? Have you ever rode BMX or motorcycles over on dirt tracks or anything?
No.
Okay, so there's a thing called the whoops. So whereas you kind of like jump a little bit so you can go down the back end. Do you do that on the skis, or you just slide through it?
You're trying to cut through it, and to the extent necessary, just like you would in sometimes snow skiing, where you want to suck up a bump.
Oh yeah, so you just kind of it's the same thing.
Yeah,
It's like the slalom bumps.
Yeah.
But the slalom ski is foot forward, like a skyboard. We were talking about that.
Yeah, and like I'm right foot forward, which is called goofy foot.
Yeah, I'm goofy too.
Okay, so yep, and so there I am, right forward.
That's wild. As a skateboarder, I'm used to being to the side and digging, and like snowboarding too. Skis, I don't like that forward facing because it feels like I'm a face plant.
I in the skiing department, I'm a two skied downhiller.
No, really.
Yeah,
You ever snowboard?
I gave it a very little thought, and then I went, "How do I look at a cast?"
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, I talked to somebody that learned to snowboard in their 40s, and even at that, I was astounded.
right.
It's,
Yeah, I've been riding. For
yeah,
years.
my youngest gave it a try for a while, and he got banged up a couple of times pretty good.
Paraskiing, paragliding, paramotor. Have you ever considered it, George?
Well, yes, but just for the experience to do it. Quite honestly, with the amount I want to skydive,
You don't have time.
I really I want to be well above 250 a year.
Mm-hmm.
Towards 300, I think allows me to
Stay
maintain.
current.
Yeah.
Damn, that's way more than me, bruh. But I'm at the fucking tunnel. The
Well,
tunnel,
see-
the tunnel takes skydiving out of your life, man. It's so hard to get to the DZ. Because your day off, you got to wash clothes, pay bills, and then try to get the DZ, and it takes all day. It's hard for instructors, and we don't get weekends off. So it's like a Tuesday, Wednesday that we got to go grocery shop, get your car fixed, and skydive. It's tough, man. You know,
Yeah.
it's tough, and they should be the best in the world. I mean, those guys are the flying fools, but nobody can jump. Now there is a play XP out in North Carolina. They can jump. Go jump Oceanside in California. The drop zone's right next to the DZ. It's not an hour drive, so they can jump. But that's about it. Eloy, if you live on the drop zone, but it's tough. That's why I'm excited about El Paso. We get another drop zone open. I live fucking 3 minutes from the airport now. Like I can run to the airport if I hear a load starting. So I plan to, so if I can keep that 250 a year, I would love it, man. I used to do 1,000 jumps a season when I was doing tandems. You know, it was easy. And now it's like I get 50 a year. It sucks. It's really heartbreaking.
Well, boy, do I all that years in Alaska as a helicopter pilot. The jump season is real early May. Everything gets dry enough, and at best sometime in mid-late October, probably late October, and you're done. And for
5 months, 5 months.
and
How do they hold instructors?
and the flight season was exactly the same when you're really the busiest at the exact same time, and so I had a bunch of 30 jump years,
Right.
which is why at
53
years in the sport. I'll show you 53 years in the sport, and I'm going to hit 5,000 on July 30th.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. But numbers don't matter. But yeah, I hear what you're saying.
And the predominant number of them were when I retired.
That's when it ramped up. Yeah.
I went from struggling to make anything over 100, to I made 200 and did that for a couple of years, and then I was making 300 to.
Are you doing the jump package, or are you just paying?
Just paying.
Just paying. Right on, Georgie. Well, man, let's get to the book. You're an amazing guest, dude. I appreciate everything. Like, I tell your fucking helicopter story in Alaska when it was all white and you woke up with your feet touching the ground. It's like, this dude is the baddest man alive. Or the little scout helicopter you'd fly around to get shot at so you can drop the flares so the cobras can come in. Dude, that's legendary shit, Joey. Dude, I sit in that way. The bullet that went through and almost got you, I relive that as if it's me all the time for fun. Just because it's exciting for me to imagine myself in that helicopter getting shot at, man.
What is that episode number?
Episode, I don't know, it was 3 years ago. Episode 28. I don't know. It was a while ago Georgie was on the show. Listen to those stories, you guys. This is my hero, man.
And you have been one of the best friends that I have, and I'll be having to travel to El Paso.
Come on.
Just to have a beer with you.
Come on, man. Some tacos. We're going to have fun in El Paso, George. Back to some tunnel shit. If you're proficient at sit flying and you can't commit the money to learn head down, you can find a good coach that'll at least put you on the net and let you feel the feeling of legs wide, legs close, shelf daffy, on the net, arms loose, and you can feel what the real feeling feels like. Because if you don't know, it's hard to experience out of the plane while you're terrified trying to learn. But if you get to stay there for 5 minutes, do 2-minute sets, 3-minute sets or whatever, and just sit there and feel the wind. If you lean this way, if you lean that way, take it to the sky. It pays dividends, right? Imagine the first time you were stable in the tunnel and sit. You became a master in the sky. That second, right? If you can balance on the net with your arms off, not even flying, just your arms off the net, you can balance your body, guys. You can fly head down in the sky. And you're probably better than the people that can fly head down in the sky, right? Because if you can take the luxury of the time to feel the wind across your body, it pays dividends, man.
The tunnel is just magic. It doesn't matter the discipline. I mean,
it doesn't.
As a SOS jumper, myself and Ed Miller, Harry Hopkins, and Bruce Travis.
Look at you, George. Look how young you look. Look at that. Put it up, Bob. Look at Georgie. Yeah. That's an older WazzyCircus.
Episode 28.
Episode 28. Look at him. You look better now. You're way more handsome now. You need to tell that dude what he needs to do.
Actually, just keep on keeping on.
Keep on keeping on.
That's the simplest thing, really, and the hardest is you find something that motivates you, and this sport, skydiving, motivates me that I must do my best to remain healthy while doing stupid shit that breaks my body.
Yeah,
there is that little problem, but we're going to do our best with it.
But there's a huge problem in our country of guys, not women. Women last. Men, they retire. A couple years later, it's over. There's no purpose. They diminish. Their vibrations go low. Their flame goes out. There's nothing to do. And
So
I can see how it happens. I can see without a purpose.
so here's a piece of real honest advice, and that is how to retire.
Yes.
And I saw that with people that I worked with. So there were people like myself and some of my friends that had something else we wanted to do. Yeah, most of us really liked our job, but we had something else we wanted to do. I had other friends that retired because they could.
Mm.
Every one of them either came back to work or was just totally miserable for years and years and years. One of them finally got it together, but he'd been retired for 15 years. So
just miserable.
You retire because you want to do something else, not because somebody else thinks you're supposed to retire.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Retire because you have a passion for something.
Or a mission, or, it's something that says, that talks to your heart,
Because watching TV and eating all the food you want and drinking all the alcohol you want and doing all the whatever you want is going to get old pretty fucking quick. Indulging is worthless. It's that striving that helps, that pushing for something. That's why I like prayer motor. I really suck at it, and it's really hard. It's really hard to get off the ground, and I'm constantly learning, and I've got to push myself, and I've got to study, and I've got to try, and I've got to really contemplate. It's in your own time. When you're by yourself, it's that obsession that gets you through. If that's how you grow. You got to obsess about it. If you're not obsessed, you become stagnant. And if you're not obsessed, it's because you haven't found the right thing. You find the right thing, you'll obsess about it. Some people obsess about just folding clothes and being neat. I obsess about parachutes and weight shifts.
And so I can, obsess about different parts of the sport.
All day.
And I can obsess about learning to be a good enough slalom skier to actually be able to ski that course, those 6 buoys. And I can obsess about less than a year and a half away of celebrating my 50th anniversary.
Wow. Congratulations, man.
With the finest lady in the whole
world.
That's
beautiful.
There's no way to describe how lucky I have been.
Right.
Financially, I did the right things, and then somebody helped me out after I'd already done the right things, and it's like,
well, I need that guy. Come on, help me. Come holler at your boy. I'm trying to do the right things. Hey, I was going to say, one journey that I'm on is obsessing about being a better person. My guru says 10% every day. If you're not better than you were yesterday, what's the fucking point of getting up? Like, you're going to be stagnant? Be nicer. Cuss less. Be kinder.
I am going to disagree violently in a small way with what he had to say.
Please.
Because it doesn't allow for failure.
It does, though.
Well, I didn't hear that. And that's you must be allowed to fail without setting yourself back. If you didn't meet a really tough goal, in other words, any backsliding, well, you ought to spank yourself some. But if you just didn't get far enough forward, you shouldn't just see that as a failure.
But if you're not trying, you're not going to fail. So
you
got at least got to fucking try.
Oh yeah.
So that's what it is. 10% better. But if you're not trying, you're going to fail if you try. So
yes.
you got to face yourself. So it's all wrapped up in there. I mean, trying you will fail, but that's not what he's saying. He's saying, are you at least trying to be a little bit better today, or are you just what's this whole spiritual journey about if you're not getting better or trying to get better, addressing yourself? I think about every conversation I have with everybody I have before I go to bed. I try to, and then when I get up in the morning, I try to think about how I'm going to do it better. I'm not going to do that again today, especially as a parent. I got my boys during this weird stage. They're becoming teenagers, and I've got to find this balance of I can't bully them. I've got to respect them and speak to them so they, as a man, so they understand. But I've also got to tell them what to do. but I can't hurt their feelings because little boys are fucking sensitive, and you'll destroy their whole day. Just speak. It's wild.
And there's, I can't tell you how much I respect parents nowadays, and I'm so glad that I didn't have to deal with what you guys have to deal with. I mean, both of my sons, one's 40, going to be 45, and the other one is, no, it's going to be 44, and the other one's 52.
Mm. Yeah.
See, so I've been all done with that.
Yeah, for years.
Hey.
Yeah, that's cool.
I have been having my, well, you've met my granddaughter.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've met Meg.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so she was staying with us, and now she and her boyfriend and family are going to stay in this unbelievable rental thing that they got. It's like a damn palace.
Nice.
Yeah, she's going to come back spoiled.
Yeah, that happens, man. All right, George, let's get to the story, then we can get some tacos.
Yes.
No shit, there I was. Thought I was going to die. Stories compiled by Tim Long and one other person that's in the front. Hey, guys, I think we're going to start a project.
Oh, and Doug Garr.
Doug Garr.
Who I'm supposed to be writing for, by the way.
Oh.
For the next one.
Yeah, right. Well, we were talking before the show about compiling new No Shit That I Was Thought I Was Going to Die stories. If you guys think you have a story, don't send me the story. Just text me and say that you got a story. Find me a messenger, Waz Choudhry, whatever. Let's talk about putting together another skydive book. It's not that you're going to make any money or get famous, but we're going to capture history, because this book ends in like the early 80s. And from then on, I don't know any other books like where people are really telling the truth of the fuck-ups they did. You know, I had a friend the other day, Katie Queen, shout out. She's at some unnamed drop zone. It was 182. Oh, do you know Katie at the tunnel? Great girl, ex-Marine, super cool. She works downstairs. Super cool girl, super sweet girl, but she's tough as nails. She's getting out of the 182. There's a chain for the tandem masters to get up, that's covered with a hose right by the door, okay? She used it to get up. She doesn't remember, but I know she didn't let go, okay? And she jumped out and tried to let go, but her body weight and the chain caught her between the door. And she's hanging by her fingers off the plane, and she can't get off. So she's hanging, her friends left, and then her fingers slowly break one at a time and then she falls off. Then, hold on, Katie fucking got away. What do you weigh, Katie? 120, fucking 5'5", 5'7", 5'6". Little girl, blondie, tiny little girl, broken hand, reaches back, deploys her parachute with the fucking hand. Her fingers are fucked. And her fingers were broke, and I think the reaching for the pud pulled these two fingers off the track and to the side because the tendons had pulled them down, so now they're like hooks lower than the rest of her finger, like they're disconnected. She deploys. Then she wraps those hooks into the toggles, and she's crying in free fall. There's video of her landing, and she's crying, and she fucking flies a great pattern, stands it up, and tells them, I need to go to the hospital. A fucking Marine. Whew. I'd have shit myself and turned into a baby and just crashed into a tree, dog. I'd have been like, Jackie. Oh, my God. So there's stories like that. I had a story of a friend that jumped out of the plane recently, like a year or two ago with a seatbelt on, and they were fucking hanging out the side of the 182. I had a friend, Jeff Gowie, fucking reserve deploys in the door of the plane as he's exiting. Like, we got stories. Motherfuckers, y'all got stories. The Otter out, we were at a Boogie Skydive Dallas. We're doing tandems. Fucking Otter engine. We borrowed it from Spaceland. This is before Spaceland owned it. Spaceland sent us one of their fucking Otters. The engine goes out on takeoff on the Otter, bro. And we got to do a circle around and nobody can get out because we're too low. A couple of Freeflyers got out like at 15, but I had a tandem, so I had to write it down. That's what I hated doing tandems. That was the one moment I hated. I realized I got to go down with the airplane. It was the first time in skydiving I realized that I'm no longer free. I'm an employee and I'm responsible for this person. I had done 2,000 tandems at that point. 1,000 tandems at that point. And I realized, oh, fuck, I'm responsible for my death. To my death. I mean, I'd live, I'd get out, you probably take my license, I'd go on with my life. but if I wanted to stay
but
in
you were in the right airplane to be
engine out.
Engine out.
Yeah.
When I was still a co-pilot in Twin Otters, and I'm flying with a friend that, well, he'd known my father, and we're hauling fuel out to an ice strip, and I'm doing the math in my head, and I realized this 12,500 pound legal total gross weight aircraft is a few pounds short of 15,000.
Oh shit! Liquid.
It's cold out. Not super cold like it was sometimes, but it's cold out. And but I mean, this is a lot over gross. And I looked over at Dwayne and said, have you figured the weight? And since we were outbound to land on the ice strip, Dwayne was actually flying, and as the captain, and he says, "You've got it." As soon as I was flying, he reached up and idled one engine, and then the condition lever in the Otters, that little red knob.
Mm-hmm.
He took the little red knob of the engine that he had just idled and shut it off.
300 pounds overweight, headed to an ice glacier bullshit in Alaska in the Otter.
Oh, did I mention it was night?
Oh, fuck off, George. Nisson.
And so there's no lights at all, so we're actually out on instruments. And
was he drunk? Was he drunk?
Not in the least. He looked over at me and went, "Climb."
Okay.
And so I did all and amazingly, I was
the plane just fucking did it.
It wasn't great, but once I nailed all the numbers, and Dwayne looked over at me and kind of nodded. Then he goes, and so if this actually what you want to do, he says, I'm going to give you just about 5 degrees of flaps, and he says, and I want you to go back to like this was an old 100 series, come back another 5 knots, and we gained more climb.
Wow, slowed it down and you got some lift.
And then he lit it back up, and then he took over. He actually landed on the ice strip.
Well, 300 pounds is just like a fat guy over.
No,
so it's
not 300.
3,000 pounds.
2,500 pounds.
Oh, my math is shit.
12,500, almost 15.
Oh man, that's not what I was thinking. Wait, 12,000. Oh, 50. See, I'm thinking 1,200, 1,500. Yeah, 12,000 pounds. Are they getting paid per gallon? As you guys, 5,000 gallons, 2,500 gallons is a lot.
Well, no, it was 2,500 pounds.
Whatever it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weight.
Of extra fuel, and part of it was that we had a lot of fuel on because the weather was kind of sucky. And
plus your fuel.
Yeah.
So flying liquid, does it? Can you feel the plane moving with the dynamic? Because I've driven water trucks. It's not the same, but pump trucks.
Not at all, because you don't hit fore and aft in an aircraft. Have you ever felt that wasn't power induced? Like if you were to an Otter coming down, he pulls the power back. Yeah, you feel it decelerate.
Right.
But aside from deliberate adding or reduction of power, you never feel this. We feel this,
right?
But we never feel this. So
except on braking, on landing.
Oh yeah, and there, as soon as you apply the brakes, then any loose fuel, like in wing tanks, it's not quite as noticeable. But we had belly tanks.
The belly tank, yeah.
And the only time I ever and it's suddenly you lit me up with a memory of was taxiing over really rough ground with if you had about half fuel, and you'd have enough mass moving.
So that was my realization. Like, if the bladders are full, there's not going to be much movement. It's when they're half full, that's when the rocking happens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, then you've got both movement and mass.
Right. You don't fly anymore?
Nope.
Anything?
Nothing.
You don't want a gyrocopter or a fucking hot air balloon or something like all these other guys that, they reminisce and they go fly them?
I have thought about it at times. It really does. It calls to me sailplanes.
Yeah, man. You're fucking...
But any of that, especially now that I discovered skiing.
Okay.
Whatever
it is, find something. It doesn't have to be whatever it is. Yeah.
And I'm not certain that it needs to be two. I mean, my life gets to be pretty full trying, especially now that my lake is empty and I have to tow to put the boat in. It cut my skiing in less than half. I used to ski 3, sometimes 4 days a week.
Mm-hmm. Now you got to tow.
Yeah, I could go out and uncover my boat, throw a switch, and it went down into the water.
You have a lake on your property? God bless.
My backyard ends in a lake.
God bless you, Nissan. All right,
I'm blessed.
Yeah.
I said it.
Yeah, you did. You did. Hey, and I aspire to it, and I'm not a hater. I'm a congratulator. Here we go.
I
guess,
see.
Thought I was alive.
Yeah, no shit. There I was, thought I was going to die. My harrowing story was that, excuse me, this is not about me, of course. This is Nancy Gooderman. My harrowing story was at Paris sometime during the late 70s. Many of us who had been jumping with Steve Fielding. By the way, I did know Steve. May he rest in peace. And hi to Sharon if you happen to see this. And with Steve Fielding at Elsinore, had good night jumps equipment that he made and sold. Red or strobe lights mounted to boxes with batteries inside, activated with a handy toggle switch on the box. They were taped to the top backside of our helmets. Very cool. We turned them on right before exit. Well, I never gave all of this much thought until one jump where someone, a relatively new skydiver, had improvised a night light by taping a flashlight to the top of his helmet. Although it wasn't as cool as ours, it was the same principle, or so we thought.
That's bad. That's really bad.
I think I know where this is going.
Yeah, I know exactly where that's going.
Usual jump, run, floaters out, lights on.
Oh, no.
3, 2, 1, go.
Uh-oh, Joe. Is that Pink Floyd? It is Pink Floyd. I listen to the album a lot, dude.
There. When you tell the phone no in the right way, it gives you the option to send a message. And I told him, give me a call later.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. It's probably about my upcoming trip. And
go back to the night jump. Dude's got a flashlight strapped to his helmet.
Yeah, he's got a flashlight strapped to his helmet. And usual jump run, floaters out, lights on. Right. 3, 2, 1, go.
Let's go.
I was base, and the flashlight guy was pin. We're doing it the hard way to qualify for night SCR.
SCR.
I looked up and saw a huge, bright white light with a beam that would light up the airfield coming straight at me. None of us on the load had noticed that the guy had mounted the flashlight facing forward instead of backward. Well, as the star built, this new guy watched as each jumper came into the star and blinded everyone in the process. Apparently, he was enjoying his great view of his first night skydive.
He's fucking having a ball. He doesn't know.
Which I also believe was his night SCR qualification. It was kind of funny to watch the physical reactions of everyone when they broke wrists and were suddenly in the spotlight. There were a lot of grimaces, shocked expressions, squeezed shut eyes, sudden head turns away, useless shouting as everyone instantly lost their night vision.
Like, what the fuck?
Needless to say, we had a lot of night jumps before advice for one of Paris's one and only Scott Smith. If memory serves me right, when we finished that skydive.
So watch. So dude was the last. He was the glory spot. So he's on the plane. He turns his flashlight on, but everybody's looking out the door. So nobody.
He wasn't in the glory spot. He was the pin.
Where's the pin go?
Oh, the second person. In other words,
Oh,
she went
shit.
off his base, so she got zapped right off. But then now he's there.
And
so number
everybody
3
that
arrives,
flies in.
he turns and looks at him.
Oh,
And
jeez.
I just
So if you don't know, on night jumps, 30 minutes before, everybody closes their eyes kind of and gets in darkness. Because night jumps have to happen 2 hours hour after sunset.
hour after sunset.
Hour
I
after
believe.
sunset.
I should know. You know, I've had actually 3 night records.
3 night records.
Yeah. The first was a 40 way,
Uh-huh.
and then the cool was the 64 way in the dark.
Sick.
And then we did a
64-way in the dark. That's fucking intense, dude. That track away had to be fucking intense, dude.
Steve Woodford had this plan that I really liked. Trying where we started breaking at. I think we probably started at
Staged. It was staged.
6.
Yeah.
And within the staging was pulls.
Oh, as you track, you dump. Oh, 6. You turn, pow, pow, pow. They're open. There's no like.
The farthest guy tracking needed to flare a little bit.
Yeah, but there's no over tracking the person in front of you because they've already dumped. That's amazing. That is smart.
And we broke.
You guys hear that? That's fucking smart. That's smart in the daytime. Fuck nighttime.
But it takes discipline. That is the one thing. Everybody has to believe and follow the plan.
Right, and if you're scared of dumping in movement, you're not going to do it. You're going to slow down and wave. And if you have an off-heading opening, with forward movement, it's going to exaggerate it. You know, if you're going to spin, you're going to really spin if you're moving. So it's a little sketch, but in daytime you can see it. That's fucking cool.
It really worked. Steve Woodford had a magical plan. I mean, and we only jumped one night jump a day, and he always picked a moon angle as close as he could get to 45 for jump time. And
wow, science.
And our jump, if this was
why the moon angle for the pictures?
Nope. It gave shadow on the ground. So the cactus casts a shadow.
So you can see depth.
A hole shows up as a round shadow. Not perfectly round, but kind of a funny.
Right.
But anyway, holes in the ground show up. See, because we weren't landing on the DZ per se. You're at Eloy, so I mean,
you can land right. It's desert.
You know the desert. The jump one was offset like this. We all turned. We faced the area of the desert we were about to get, and that's
you took what you got.
You took what you got.
And that guy thought ahead so much that he got to make sure the shadows are clear enough that you guys didn't land in a gopher fucking hole.
No gopher
break
holes.
Break your ankle.
Not straight into a cactus.
Yeah, because of the shadows. Because in the desert, dude, if the cactus, if there's no shadow, dude, those saguaros, you can't see them. You could take them face on. That's fucked up. That's very cool.
They are a perfect disguise. I mean, they're kind of dark, and those needles, they just.
Yep,
yeah.
So you bring me the magic of night jumps. So with the flashlight story, we close our eyes 30 minutes before we take off just to adapt to the night. That's why astronomers, you'll see red lights. They use red lights in the night so they can see the stars because a white light will blind you. So that guy at the flashlight blinded everybody in the formation. So they had to track away, check their altitude, and fly a pattern half blinded by a flashlight. The shirt you had on the other day at Flight Nights, I had a painting series I did called the Galactitracks. And they were all inspired. That one you had on was not inspired by a night jump, but I turned it to a night jump, with the galaxy and stars around it. But there were some night jumps I had been on when I first started tracking, when I was on my back looking at my friends, and they were silhouetted against the Oklahoma sky. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in Oklahoma. There's no hills. It's flat as a fucking plate. So the horizon touches down on each side of the earth, like with your feet, level with your feet. There's no mountains or hills. So the whole sky is stars. It's the universe above you. So when you're doing night jumps, George, and you look up, it's the galaxy, and then your friend floats in blocking the stars. It's the most amazing thing. So I did that whole painting series based on night jumps. Night jumps are magic. We used to do one every weekend at OSC. Every Sunday night, we'd end it with a night jump. And I don't see them happen. They're an event now at Boogies. They're not a normal thing. I think they're a good skill to have.
Again, I was one of the, I was next to last out of the left trail on that 64 way. And you talked about magic, and that's where I'm going with this. Come out the door and getting yourself head down dive. Just a moment of no lift. As I come out of that, to my left, I can see 2 strings of fireflies, little lights.
Yeah.
Because everybody's got
Yeah.
we had those LEDs strapped to our legs.
Uh-huh.
It was just so cool.
And you follow the fireflies to the fucking
and there's a group of fireflies right there, and just at about that instant is when the videographers got into position and turned on their lights, and then the center lit up.
Oh wow, free fall.
And that was.
Then the rest of the universe is blocked out. It's just your friends.
Well, no, you since the lights were pointed down, our gear didn't reflect enough to mess with you. You could still see all the little lights on the ground.
Oh, okay. It wasn't that, okay.
It didn't, no, I don't think it was any detriment to it didn't affect our night sight until you got in, and I didn't do it. I thought about it ahead. It was mentioned, not real strongly, don't geek the camera.
Right.
Because
I always geek.
A couple people did. And of course, the second they did that, they looked right into the lights.
Yeah.
And poof, there goes the night vision.
But they got that shot, though. Hey, we're going to end it on that, man. Flying into a formation with your friends.
Oh, as good as it gets.
As good as it gets. WazzyCircus Radio. To good friends, man. To a good life. To a good, healthy, wholesome life, man. Cheers.
Thank you, one and all.
Keep your head on a swivel and hook that shit. Woo! Always an honor, dude. Georgie. Always an honor. That was a good scotch.
Something I started to